Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Nice to see you all. So some of you did, am I recording? Wait a minute. Yes. Some of you were with us for the first one and some of you weren't. So those of you who were, do you have any questions or insights or anything to share for us to begin? Nothing at all. Nope. Caroline.
I was a little in and out. My connection wasn't so good, but every time I came in, it was just such a grounding experience. And I think for a number of days afterwards, something was working in my system. Difficult to put words to it or pinpoint exactly what. But I really enjoyed it. And it was amazing. Thank you. I can tell you since then I've been feeling far more centered in, I suppose you say, myself. And that's a new experience for me.
So when you say centered in yourself, how?
Yes. My sense is I don't jump outside so fast. And that makes me really emotional just to say. So
yeah. So what causes the jumping out so fast? Why do we jump out so fast? What is that?
I would say, using breakthrough terminology, it's a moment of overreaction. The reactionary mind is out there already goal orientated.
Right. So forget about breakthrough language and do your language now. The question is, what is it that keeps on having us feel like we're jumping outside, you know? What catalyzes? Is it something particular that catalyzes it?
I want to, for my own self, I want to say that moment of people pleasing, wanting to, well, then if it's people pleasing, is I want something particular to happen on the outside, or I want someone to see me in a particular way, or contrive a particular experience. And that's, yes, that's that pull out.
Yes.
So
it's, in simple language, might it be that hi, Michael. I'll wait for the chimes. So sit for a moment, you can enjoy the chimes. So in simple language, could it be we just get seduced by stories?
Yes.
Our internal stories and the external stories.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What springs to mind now is a lady I've been working with for a while, and so inspiring, who is in the most nightmare situation I could imagine with a child, a teenager, and just doing the work on So first understanding that the seduction of the stories. And so she's been working really just to come back. I am. And just to be here. And she described, I mean, the city she's living in, she described she had to make a decision. And she said, I just kept on going in the loo and standing there and checking in with my body. What's my body telling me I need to do? And it was so different rather than asking her mind, what am I going to do? That she actually did that. She went into the different public loos. And I just kept on checking in with my body. What's my body's response to this story and the decision I need to make? And over time, just doing that, just keep on coming back rather than looking to the mind to inform her, looking to her body's response to the situation to inform her. She just went through this shift, and instead of actually making decisions and taking action, she was doing less. And as a result, she was seeing the people in the story in the outside just going through these huge changes. And she said, but it's remarkable. I see wherever I engage with the story, and I would be pushing, because I would have a certain, this is how I thought it should be, and what I wanted and what I needed. And she said, each time I've just done this, just keep my counsel with my body. She said, I've seen, the people in the story, the family, just going through very big changes without me feeling like I needed to direct them or do anything. Yeah. So this is really what the work of BreakThrough is about. More and more, it's about learning to do that we do less. We're so much in doing mode and fixing mode and paranoid mode, really. So the hand-me-down mind is just always looking out to the future, but it makes decisions from a place of fear. And the fear isn't healthy fear. It's not natural fear that's looking after it. It's fear engendered by the hand-me-down mind. So, yeah, so she really inspired me just watching her go through this process, something that took tremendous tenacity and to be able to keep on turning her focus away from the story and just come back. What's my body doing? What's my body telling me? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have any other feedback from last time or questions coming to you? So our focus has been freedom of thought.
I was just going to share that, yeah, also over the similar along the lines of what you and Caroline just shared, that, over the past few weeks, and I think I mentioned this to you in one of the other classes that you've been having weekly, maybe, just noticing this, well, it's like a gentleness with myself, more and more of that, and noticing, I guess, similar to what you described with this person that you've been working with, that just noticing in myself this kind of spontaneous impulse to do things, and not thinking so much about what I need to do, or overthinking what I need to do or when I need to do it. There's been some things in my life over the past, well, I'll say in my BodyTalk career.
Oops, we lost your sound. Or was it just
thinking for myself and putting pressure on myself, like, I need to do this, I need to do that, and this needs to happen, and beating myself up because certain things aren't happening and they should be happening now, and I should be here, or I should be at this place in my career, and just noticing that habit over the years of really just being really hard on myself and judging myself and criticizing myself, but then noticing just these just very simple but profound shifts that have happened over the past 2 or 3 weeks or so, of just like, boom, just like all of a sudden this is happening and this is happening and this is happening. Just like now the time is right. It's like things are just going poof, 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 poof. Now all these things are falling into place that I'd been thinking for myself, like this needs to happen, and then all this now it's just happening. And I don't feel like I'm trying to make it happen. I'm just doing it without trying or efforting so much. So that feels nice. And it feels like I'm in this place. I feel like this inspiration and this enthusiasm has somehow seemed to have faded away for a while. It seems like, oh, here it is. So now it feels like, okay, moving forward, just moving forward. So that's been really nice to feel that in my body and to experience that and pay attention to those signals of, when these little thoughts have been niggling in my head, like, you should do this. And then this other part of my mind, like, no, don't worry, not a big deal. But then when I actually pay attention to that, say, okay, well, if it keeps niggling at me, then I might as well just do something about it. And then I do. And then there's just this tremendous sense of relief in my body. Like, oh, okay, now it's not niggling at me anymore to do whatever it was to, And so anyway, I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, but that was, it's been nice to feel that and experience that. So thanks.
That's wonderful to hear. Yes. And that thing, isn't it, that when we think we're overreacting, I mean, in BreakThrough, we do steps and things like that. But the first thing when there's an overreaction is to realize the overreaction is it's something in us needing to be addressed. So that's all it is. It's not something bad. It's something needing to be addressed in a different way. So when we overreact, usually we'll do so in a way that we've done a million times before. And until finally we recognize, oh, this keeps on happening, that the overreaction's asking us, needs to be addressed, something. And our tendency is to get angry with ourselves. Why am I doing that? Why am I thinking like that? Why am I? So in BreakThrough, what we do, instead of asking questions like why, like that, which assumes already there's a problem, we explore how to question in ways that are far more nurturing and kind. And not assuming anything. Yeah. Miranda.
I just wanted to echo exactly what Caroline said, and also to an extent Ben. What Caroline said was very much what I had felt also. And I noticed it very profoundly a couple times in the shower after having a very busy day, taking the shower at the end of the day. You're there and you're naked and it's just you and the water's running over you. And it's like I could feel, it was very visceral. I could feel like all the thoughts, the things I'd done throughout the day that each had their own story that I could start letting my wheels spin, and I could go there and I could go there, or I could go there. It was like all around me, all these places I could jump into and get. But it was very clear, like that it was like, no, I'm here. I'm just here. And it felt so there was such a clarity of separation from that and just really being grounded in where I was. And feeling more centered and feeling more, not at all like an empowered, like, oh, I don't have to go there, but just a very like secure and soft and pleasurable place. It's like, no, I'm here. Why would I go there? I'm here. And yeah,
So it
that's
sounds
my experience.
simply more natural. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very natural, very easy, and just yeah, easy. Just so easy, like yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So our idea, the hand-me-down mind, is very much about life is a struggle and should be and has to be, you know, because it's always telling us how we need to become, what we need to aim for in the future, in every different situation. Mhm. So, and that goal orientation, why is that? What keeps the goal orientation going, do you think? And Michael, sorry.
Yeah, for me, the goal, as long as I'm pursuing a goal, that keeps me safe. But I know that really doesn't work for me very well. But it's like an addiction, so I still do it. Yeah.
Right. So have a goal, it keeps me safe. So why is that? Where did Michael go? You went down there.
I'm here.
Yes. They move. Yeah, so we have a goal and we think the goal keeps me safe. Why is that?
It's like a habit that we have.
Right, but let's now explore. So we have a goal and we think holding a goal is keeping me safe. What is it about holding a goal that is keeping us safe?
It gives me a sense of control over my life.
Yeah, so why?
Because I believe if I meet the goal, then I'll have control.
So having a goal gives me a sense of control over my life. Maybe Ben, can you write? Where are you? Yes.
Even though it's a false sense, but it's still like the mind is like, yeah, give me more.
Wait a second. So then you're writing.
Sure.
Don't talk too fast because we're.
Okay, yeah.
Put it in writing. Yeah. So having a goal keeps me safe because it. What did you say? Gives me a sense of control.
Control over my life. Yes.
Control over my life. You tell me when you're ready, Ben.
Okay. I have having a goal keeps me safe because it gives me a sense of control over my life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And because when I achieve the goal, what did you say?
I believe pursuing and achieving the goal will give me that control. But I know there's no evidence of that, but I really believe it. It's like an addiction. Like, I know it's bad for me, but I just got to jump there one more time. But yeah, now I'm stopping myself when it happens and say, like the other person said, no, I don't have to go there. That place is not going to feed me anything I want. So, and I've seen that enough times to know that. So let me try something different. See what happens.
Okay. So having a goal keeps me safe because it gives me a sense of control over my life. This in general seems to be quite a common experience, no?
Yeah, that's pretty much everybody.
Most of it, yeah. Because I believe once I get the goal, once I attain the goal, I will have control. So listen, having the goal gives me the idea I have some control, yes?
Yes.
And I have this idea because I believe when I achieve the goal, I will have control.
Yes.
Are you hearing this? Huh?
Yeah, I really believe that strongly. Yeah.
No, but listen.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Listen. So I have a goal and it keeps me safe because I feel I have control when I have a goal.
Yes.
I feel I have control when I have a goal because when I achieve that goal, I will have control. Just take it in. I have a goal. It helps me feel in control. And when I achieve the goal, I will have control. So you're hearing what the mind is telling us.
Yeah.
So what happens when you hear that? What happens in your mind? What happens inside you? So pay attention when you're listening to this. It's not about getting answers or responding. It's looking at, what did my mind just do when I heard that? Just paying attention. So sometimes the mind will just go really quiet.
Yeah, it stopped in its tracks, kind of.
Right.
And there's just me, and then there's my mind.
Right.
There's like a healthy separation.
Don't analyze it. Don't. So the tendency is to try to put words to it. So when you're during this, when your mind just goes quiet, just be there. Don't try and answer, don't say anything, don't do anything, even if I'm asking you a question. Yes. So here we hear, I have a goal. I need this goal because it gives me control.
Yeah.
Because when I achieve the goal, when I attain the outcome, then I will have control. So when the mind actually hears that, really hears it, the mind shuts up.
Yeah.
Right? The mind shuts up. So this is the work that we're exploring what the mind tells us, and then we're really listening, and we're really looking at what it's saying. Because a lot of things are said glibly. Yes, it feels like I have control. When I get control, I have control. We don't listen. But when we listen, then the nervous system gets it. It's like, oh. So then the nervous system, something has been understood. We've seen through the lie of it. We've seen through the deception of it. That doesn't make sense. We see it. So the minute we glimpse that, the nervous system relaxes. This is what an overreaction is. It's a lie happening. It's a lie happening. Whenever there's an overreaction, there's a lie happening. And it will be a lie that we've repeated to ourselves, and it's a hand-me-down lie often throughout our lives, yes. But we've never really paid attention to it. And so this is what we do in breakthrough. When there's an overreaction, I'll repeat something, probably you'll hear it every class, and you heard it in the last one. So where there's an overreaction, something is upsetting us, whatever the emotion might be, anger, fear, sadness, grief, whatever. Those are all really healthy emotions. They're just the body's responses to life. But when the hand-me-down mind comes in and gets in between us simply experiencing the body's response and what the body's telling us, and it interprets and says, this is what's happening, then the emotion goes into an overreaction. That's an unhealthy emotion. It's really different. So we have healthy emotions that stimulate the organs, that catalyze healthy behaviors, healthy responses. And then we have emotions that are waylaid by the hand-me-down mind and explained to us. You shouldn't be having this, you should be having more of it. This is justified, and it puts a story to the emotion. So the minute the mind puts a story to an emotion, that's an unhealthy emotion. Doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's one that's not able to communicate healthily to us. Yeah. So whenever there's an overreaction, immediately we're needing to do what?
Stop it.
We want to stop something. What do we want to stop?
The identity.
maybe stop, and maybe we want more of something. So we can have an
Okay.
overreaction. We can have an overreaction to a wonderful experience, not just terrible experiences. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But as soon as so I meet the man of my dreams or the woman of my dreams, and I have these strong emotions, but my mind's quickly going to come in and put stories to them. Yes. I love you, you make me feel, don't ever leave me, otherwise you'll make me feel this. Yeah, so immediately the stories are joined to the emotions, then we're all, what's happened to us? We're sucked out.
Contracted and twisted up.
And we're sucked out into the stories, yes? So then it's like we lose ourselves. And isn't that for example, like falling in love, but isn't that the falling in love experience? It's like, yeah, losing ourselves. So we get glimpses of this euphoric, but then we get involved in the story, and yeah, we're full of neediness, no? So when we're involved in stories, what are some of the things that happens? Let's just write them down. So when I am involved in a story, can be any kind of story, yes? Story about my boss, a story about my children, story about the situation of the politics in this country, or my finances. So whenever I'm involved in a story, what happens? Susan. You're unmuted.
I put my hand up because I had a different opinion with the goal, like having a goal and why you have a goal. But so I don't know if you want to go there.
Go there, that's fine.
That's okay.
I'm very prone to going on tangents. So yeah, sure.
Okay, so when I put my hand up, instead of control for me or the way my mind thinks, it was like to have a purpose.
To have a
reason to get up.
Okay, so having a goal gives me a purpose. Okay, a reason to get up.
Or just to do anything, actually.
Or to do anything. Right. So that's even stronger than gives me control, seems like. Having a goal gives me purpose, a reason to get up, a reason to do anything. Gives me a reason. So why do we need reason? Why do you need a reason for anything?
Yeah.
So no,
It's
a question, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question.
You make such a good point, because isn't that exactly, it is another aspect of when we have a goal. Yeah, it's a purpose. It's another word for goal, isn't it? Really, purpose.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, what does having a purpose give us?
I guess a reason to be here, a reason to be.
So, don't guess.
Okay.
Consult with yourself. And what does having a purpose give you? Does it give you something?
I guess it would be identity. But again, I'm guessing.
But you're not. You're analyzing a little bit.
I'm
so
analyzing.
be gentle with yourself. Don't look up at the sky. Look into your belly and forget you have a head. And I'll just ask you again. Okay. So just first thing that comes to you. Why do you need a purpose? First thing that comes.
Justification.
Oh,
Is the word that came in.
okay. I need a purpose to justify what?
Being here.
Being here. Right. So what's another word for justify?
Worthy, I guess. Or yeah, I use I guess a lot.
Yes, but that's fine. So I need a purpose to justify being here. And then what did you say now?
Worthy.
Yes, so a purpose, having a purpose, what? With worthy. Makes me feel worthy? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
Yeah.
what is it? Having a purpose
Makes this life worthwhile.
makes this life worthwhile. How? So remember, obviously, you're probably already doing this, but remember, this isn't just Susan's question. This is all of us. Huh?
Gives me an experience.
But you have experiences with or without purpose, no? Just by dint of being here.
True.
So I need a purpose to justify being here. I need a purpose. Having a purpose makes life worthwhile. But what does it mean? I need a purpose to justify. What do we mean? Any of us, when we're saying justify, I need
Prove.
to I need to prove, huh? But what do you need to prove, Susan? Is that where worthy comes in?
Yeah, maybe it just needs to prove that I'm worthwhile. Like this life is worth living, I guess.
Yeah. So wait a minute. So yes. So you notice yourself how often you say, I guess, yes?
Yeah, all the time.
Maybe. So what happens when we say I guess and maybe frequently? What's that? What does that tell us?
Very unsure of myself.
Yeah, very unsure. Yes. So this is good. So you see, so we're all human and this is an incredibly challenging thing, this life, yes, to all of us. Few of us get out scot-free and have an easy ride. So here we're just being really gentle with ourselves and exploring our humanness. That's all we're doing here, yes? So I need a purpose to justify being here. Having a purpose makes life worthwhile. I need to prove that I am worthwhile. So, and you already answered the next question. So when we need to prove something, what does that tell us? Usually when I have to prove this to you. Why do we want to prove something desperately to anybody or to ourselves?
We doubt ourselves.
Because
We doubt ourselves.
Yeah. Does that make sense, Susan?
Yeah.
So wherever there's a need to prove, it's proof of doubt. Yes, so you already got there, all in this, just in a few sentences, you've explored that, yes? So in other words, I need a purpose because, how would you piece that together? So I'll read it to you.
Because I don't trust myself.
I need a purpose because I do not trust myself. So does that make any logic to your mind?
No.
Right, but you see, we have a lot of hand-me-down thinking that sounds really good, when we just say it glibly. And when we start to explore it, we realize it doesn't make any sense. And the gift of this is the minute we realize, well, that doesn't make any sense, but that's exactly my deduction. So you'd be like a detective, yes, exploring our humanness, just like Columbo or Agatha Christie. Yeah. It's like, so I'm writing all that down. I come to, I need a purpose because I don't trust myself. And as soon as you hear or see, read, or recognize that makes no sense, again, the nervous system will relax because finally you've seen another misinformation, yes, another lie. It's not a lie that you're doing deliberately, yes, or an alternate fact, as they say. Okay. But as soon as the mind sees that, it calms. How's your mind feeling right now?
It feels like the brain is just going.
All right.
It's
Probably
very active.
I'm talking too much. So I'll just read it to you. So you close your eyes for a moment and you listen. All right. I need a purpose to justify being here. Having a purpose makes life worthwhile. I need to prove I'm worthwhile. Why I really need a purpose is because I just don't trust myself.
Okay, so now there's a better sense of peace.
So you don't have to tell me. Just when there's peace, don't say anything. Just enjoy it. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Just enjoy it. Right. Yeah. So your nervous system goes, now I've seen something I didn't realize. So you have all this hand-me-down black and white thinking. And when we put it together, it just makes gibberish. It makes no sense, you see. But we have to see it before it will just let go of us. Yes. So while we're seduced and addicted to the black and white thinking and not questioning it, it has us by the throat. It drags us around. It dictates our every move. It dictates how we lead our life. So the hand-me-down thinking is rules for living that have been handed down from generation to generation, and each generation adds, I don't believe that, and it will add some alternate black and white. Yes, so you end up with just hand-me-down arguments that just get bigger and bigger. Mm-hmm. So what we're doing here is we're just looking at these arguments, just very kindly, without judging them, because
Oh, you just went mute.
Yeah, I know. We have been getting some little mute blanks. So this isn't like, how could I be thinking that? But with our mind, we are able to look at these thoughts. And putting them together, we're able to deduce what is really being said. Mm-hmm. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
What happened?
You dropped a little bit there, I think.
Yes. So when we look at the hand-me-down, when we start to explore the hand-me-down thinking,
Nope, you cut it. Your sound is cutting out a little bit here and there.
don't know what's happening. Sorry. Yeah.
Can hear you now. Oh.
And Terry-Ann, Caroline, Terry-Ann, finish my sentence for me. Deduction. No.
You were saying the hand-me-down mind, but I lost the thread because we lost you speaking.
Can you
So
hear
the
me now?
hand-me-down mind, what were you?
So I'm saying, so it's black and white, yes? It's black and white. This is how it is. No, this is how it is. So it's one big internal argument. And we're, depending on circumstance, we're torn in one direction or another of the hand-me-down mind. And it looks for all the world as if this argument is happening on the outside, whether it's in our politicians, in our churches, in our families. It always looks like it's out there. And hand-me-down mind is totally all about stories and it's seduced by stories out there and it adds to them. So we're just kept on this constant loop of living stories. Yes. So when we start to explore what's actually in the hand-me-down mind, which is what we just did, you all put your hands up if I go, my sound goes, yes? When we start to piece this thinking together, and we come to what I just read, I need a purpose because I don't trust myself. When we come to the deduction is, it makes no sense at all, then that cuts through the hand-me-down mind and it relaxes the nervous system and it calms the nervous system. So that's all the work is about. It's using the mind to cut through the mind, which sounds impossible. But you know, when in those moments when you are centered in your mind, you have those experiences. You know you have a good mind that can, yes, but we only glimpse it, don't we? So it's knowing it's there and starting to use it by simple questions like we're doing here. So I'm sorry for my internet. So all put your hands up if my internet goes. I'll read this one more time and just listen. I need a purpose to justify being here. Having a purpose makes life worthwhile. I need to prove that I'm worthwhile. I really need a purpose because I don't trust myself. And you can put instead of purpose the word goal. So for most of us, that's the equation. And the idea is I achieve this goal because I have to become other than I am. I have to prove something. Yes, Jennifer. You can use the little hand up. Instead of, if you'd rather, I'd prefer you don't use the chat because I can't keep on reading. So use the little hand. Ben, can you explain it?
Yeah, so just a reminder to Esther just said, please don't use the chat. And if you have a question or you want to comment or answer a question, please use the raise hand icon. If you go down to the bottom of your screen on a laptop, you'll see reactions. You click on that and there's a raise hand feature. So you just click on that and then you'll automatically go into the queue in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. And then Esther will call on you to answer, to speak.
Okay, Jennifer, I know you want to say something. Until you find it, you just speak.
Hi, I was just wondering, how do we know what to ask ourselves sometimes?
Right.
You know, like there's stuckness because I'm not a perfect human being. I'm being human. I'm aware that not everything has yet unraveled. But I am not for certain what to ask, because some of the questions, as you ask and other people are answering, I'm just observing and I'm feeling it, and my entire the freedom of thought comes into, like, I receive the arrival and my whole body's like, no, I know this is not true for me, right? But I have an understanding that there are other black and whites from hand-me-down thinking. I still see it within my mom, and I don't judge it. I just recognize it. But I wonder, what do I need to, how do I go within to ask myself, like, what's the question I need, what do I need to unravel?
Yes. See, so if we ask, what do I need to unravel? That's more like an analysis, isn't it? Sort of look at, yes. Do you think? So it's less, what do I need to ask? It's, have I been asking useful questions? And what makes one question a useful, efficient question, and what makes a question not very helpful? Yeah, so we could say, for example, why does my husband behave like that? Now, is that a useful question? No, it's not. It's just me on some level saying, yes, well, obviously there's something wrong with his behavior. I just can't figure it out. Yes. So it's not really any kind of useful or efficient question. Mm-hmm. Right. So what might be in that situation a useful question?
I know that
No. Answer.
So
I asked,
listening to my body.
so what would be, so let's say, tell me, do you have a husband or somebody? Think of one person.
Yes, I have a husband.
or I don't, well, let's take husbands for now, or wife.
I have children.
So instead of asking, so why is he behaving like that?
Mhm.
What might be a practical question? So what makes a question efficient and practical and useful to us? Maybe that's first beginning.
Yeah, I think that is where I think I'm aware that my stuckness is asking a question, Esther.
Yes, but you're making stories about stuckness. So it's like little sneaky judgments of yourself, yes? All right, so all of
because we're told not to ask questions.
so now we've explored. So what makes a question useful to us?
Where we can be open to receiving an answer.
Okay, but this is for everybody now. So then, and if you can put your hands up if you have an answer for me. So what makes a question a useful question, Michael?
It brings us some sort of relief, or it helps calm us down and focus us.
So if I go on
relief is more, it's stronger.
So if I go onto Google and I say, what are the health benefits of a Mars bar? Is that going to be a good question because it gives me relief?
No, that's not going to be a good question. You can only get relief from a good question.
But I do, because if I go on and I type that into Google, it'll tell me Mars bars have vitamin D and the sugar gives you energy, and they're going to give me an answer that gives me relief. And then I don't feel guilty about eating Mars bars because I have found this site that tells me Mars bars are really healthy.
But that's like a quick fix. It's not going to last.
Yeah, but I'm still answering. You just told me good questions give you relief. And I'm giving you an example of maybe not. So what's a good question? What's a useful question? What's it going to provide us with?
Clarity.
Clarity on what?
Mental clarity. A clear mind.
Okay. So why is he behaving like that? Monica, give me a good question. An alternate
question to why.
To why is he behaving like that? Or why is she behaving like that?
I don't have a question.
Okay.
I don't have a question, but it can't have an assumption in the question.
Right,
So
but I'm looking for a question now.
Assumption.
Right, so don't immediately go to all the stuff you already know. Answer the question. So what is a healthy question, Kathy? Can't hear you.
A healthy question would make me look within myself for answers.
No, but I'm asking you, give me a healthy question.
So what is it that in my...
You only have 8 words. So in Breakthrough, your question can never be more than 8 words long.
What is triggering in me by his reaction? What's
What is triggered in me by his reaction?
Yeah.
Or by his action. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Any other good questions? Anybody? Why is he or
The
she
first
behaving?
one that, oh, sorry, the first one that came to me is, why do you care?
Why do I care? Yeah. Why do I care? Mm-hmm. And what might happen if you ask that question?
It might get analytical, but you could, why do you care about his behavior?
Why do I care? Because you're asking it of yourself, yes?
Right, why do I care about his behavior?
So
Or
it might get
what makes his behavior so important to you?
to me.
To me, sorry.
Yes. So what makes his behavior so important to me? That's a useful question, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And that's what you were sort of saying, Kathy, but it was a little bit complicated. Yes. So what makes that so important to me? That's a useful question. Why is that useful? What happens the minute we ask something like that? So instead of, why is he behaving like that? What makes his behavior so important to me?
It brings the focus of where you're asking from out there to here.
What else?
And it doesn't have an element of blame in it.
Right.
It has that element of, I'm curious about, as Kathy said, well, I'm trying to figure out why I'm triggered, but that's too analytical. So why is his behavior? So the curiosity comes in without any accusation or
Yes.
no accusation.
So a healthy question, rule of thumb, usually it comes from curiosity, yes, but real curiosity. Mm-hmm. That doesn't assume, that doesn't already have an answer. Yes, so the hand-me-down mind is full of answers. I know something. It's all about I know something. I know something. Yeah. So the question needs to be not from a place of I know something, but yes, I'm really curious. And if we're hurting because of some behavior that's happening out there, yeah, and our curiosity asks a question, it's going to be really different, yes? So if we're hurting, apparently because of something out there, and we don't ask a healthy question, what happens? So it appears out there is doing something, yes? So what's our
I start to go into, that's making me, something external causes me to do something until I can, go through this manipulation and abuse and accusation of the other, I will be able to feel better. Yet that feels horrible.
Yeah, so the hand-me-down mind is all about cause and effect, yes? This happened because of that, which happens because of that. It's full of ideas of cause and effect. Mm-hmm. And yet, heck, we don't even know how the first thought ever appeared to us. We have, so not even knowing that simple thing about our humanness, we think we know something about cause and effect. Huh? Michael? Yet.
Yeah, my question would have been, why does it bother you so much? But that misses his personal pronoun. Like, what are you talking about exactly? It's missing that. So
who are you asking the question to, yourself or to the other person?
I would be asking it to the other person if they're my friend and telling me that. Yeah. Why is he acting like that? And this, I would say,
this is you saying, he makes me feel, or why is he behaving like this? Or why is she behaving like this? What is a useful question? This was for you to be asking.
Okay, I need to refine it a bit further. Yeah.
So instead of saying, you know, why is he doing such and such in that way? We're looking
Bring it
for
back to me
what
and just state what is without
yeah. And
labeling it
Terry
or
Ann did,
judging it.
like Terry Ann did. So why is this important to me? Why is his behavior important to me?
Yeah, what I was going to answer is because that's the question stops me in my tracks. I don't know what to say. Kind of, why is it important to me? It kind of stops me.
Yeah. So when we have a really good question, the mind shuts off. See? And then what comes are more questions. So the different about this work is that we're not looking for answers at all. We're really not interested in answers. We're looking at more and more interesting questions. So when we get to something like, I need purpose because I don't trust myself. That's the logic in the hand-me-down mind. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. So the mind goes quiet, yes? So then you ask a question about that. And each time we no. Yes. All right. Ben, Terry Ann, and Caroline, talk for a moment. I'm going to find out what's happening to my internet.
Every time we get disrupted, I don't know where we were. What did she say? What was the last thing she was saying?
She's talking about the mind going, like, asking more interesting questions and the mind going
Right. So the moment we ask
quiet.
a question, it's never about the answer, is it? Ever. It's the next question that arises, and then something happens. So you can even, when you see your answers or you're listening to your answers, something happens, right? Are you all having that experience now where something's happening? I'm even having trouble gripping onto a story that I had when we started. So when we started, I had this story about my week since we did the work. And it kept coming. I said, oh, I have too many stories to tell. No, that's not what I want to say. And as the questions came in, the stories went quiet again. I'm sure they're going to boot up again, but they went quiet. I don't know if you relate to that. Esther's back. Can you speak, Esther? Are you?
Yes, tell me if I go off again, I'll just go get my cell phone and spot it. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, put you on the spot. Okay. So let's look at the next bit. When I'm involved in a story, what happens? Marie, can you use the little hand thing? Because I don't know if you're waving or. Okay, just speak, Marie, then. And you need to unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm sorry, can you say the question again? No, I'm lost.
Okay.
I'm
It's
lost.
not a question, it's finishing a sentence. So when I'm involved in a story, I.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Never mind.
no worries.
Go ahead.
Michael, you put your hand up.
When involved with stories,
When
I am a
involved,
victim.
I am a victim.
And also I am trapped. I'm stuck to the story. Yeah.
Okay, so whatever's coming to you, don't analyze. When I'm involved in a story, what's happening to me? What's going on?
I'm in my head.
Mira?
I make more stories.
Yes, so now go into your guts. How old are you? How many stories have we been involved in a lifetime? So we're pretty expert on knowing what happens, but we don't really pay attention because most of the time we think the stories are true. Yeah. So what happens when I'm involved in a story? What happens to my body? What happens to my nervous system? What happens to me? What happens to my actions? Michael.
Yeah, I noticed my whole life and my body become all twisted up, contorted.
Okay. Mira.
I get overwhelmed.
What does that mean exactly?
It becomes too much. So my experience is my body will start shaking. I'll get scattered. I won't be able to focus.
What gets scattered?
My mind, my thoughts, they just go all over the place. And then my body follows by just, as for me, I get shaky. For me.
And sometimes the thoughts don't go all over the place, do they? Sometimes they're very focused on, it's your fault. How could you do that? What an idiot. Oh, you're so wonderful. And mine gets focused in stories also. Yeah. So think of all the different things that happen when you're involved in a story. So the stories are the everyday things of life. So it's really different being involved and engaged. Madina. You're muted.
I managed. Can you hear me good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, thank you for asking me. It's for me. It seems to be hitchhiked. It's like getting or becoming the register. I don't know the English word. The regisseur for my own film.
The director.
Director, exactly. It's like getting hitchhiked and
hijacked.
Hijacked, yeah.
Yes. So like now, can you do it in simple language? So, for example, I'm 6 years old, and you're telling me when I get involved in a story about my family doing something, or a politician doing something, or the religion doing something. When I get involved in a story, what happens to you?
I'm forced to make something like a film out of it, which my fantasy, my brain brings forward or backward, depending on memory and fear. Depends on everything. Can be good, can be bad. But I'm doing a film, which is going away from myself, from the moment, from my body. I'm, how's the word? Kidnapped. Yeah. My brain kidnaps me.
My brain kidnaps me. Okay. So then I'm a slave to my mind.
In the moment, it seems so.
I'm a slave to my mind.
If I cannot recognize that happened, then I'm a slave to my mind. If I can recognize what happened, I can start to find out of this labyrinth.
But a little complicated. So when I'm involved in a story, I become slave to my mind. Yes. So my mind takes over like a director. It dictates to me. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
So my mind dictates what? My feelings, my behavior, my choices. What else? When I'm involved, Michael. Thank you, Bandina. There are lots of you here. There's only a few people putting their hands up. So why don't you all? Okay, just a moment, Michael, Marie.
Okay, there. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm really bad at this technology. No, for my story, when I have a story, my mind, like she said, it's almost kidnapped me to where I have to make up my own story to resolve the first story, or to control, you might say, control it. But and of course, usually this is at night, and it's going on and on and on and on. And I'm recognizing, okay, this is in my mind, it's hijacked me, this is not true. This is either in the future or past, but it's my mind is making it so that I can have resolution, or something that is so that I can rest, or I can have a solution that's not really there. It's not real, but I can't find the trigger. Like you said earlier, oh, so then you understand this, you see it from different perspective, and you can see that, and then the central nervous system calms down. Mine, even though my central nervous system doesn't calm down, it's got to lock in so that I can feel either safe, or that I can, because the story or a solution that the story, I'm in this place where I have totally no control. The outcome is outrageous, and I have to be in the middle of this storm, and I can't do anything about it. So to sleep or to do this, I have to have some form of resolving it in my mind so that I can get rest, but I can't really get rest because I know my heart is not going to be lied to. My mind can do whatever it wants, but my heart will recognize the lie. I just can't get past that part to resolve it to where I can be in it, or I can have resolution.
Just for a moment, without talking about it, just feel that experience now. I mean, you've just talked about it, so it's very vivid to you. Just see what's happening in your body. So that's something we're all very familiar with, this idea. So what happens in your body?
Just tell everything, just tight. Everything just squishes.
Everything is tight. Keep on going. Keep your eyes closed. Keep on checking with your body. Everything is tight.
If I keep going, I won't be able to breathe.
Okay.
That's what it feels like.
Okay. Keep on going. What else are you feeling? Just describe the sensations. Don't think about them. Just focus on the sensations and tell me what they are. What else?
My life is all for nothing.
Oh, but that's a thought. That's not a sensation.
Oh, a sensation.
No, too long now. Your mind is taken over.
Yeah, sensation's just tight. Can't breathe. I don't. Yeah. That can't go.
Yeah.
That.
So now you got to experience, you started to feel a sensation, and your mind was trying to give answers and get in there. Yes.
Yes.
So there's nothing wrong with our minds. It's only ever trying to just keep us safe. Yes.
Right.
But it's never been trained, and it's just been hand-me-down from people who didn't use it properly either. So now we're trying to use it in a more effective way. And the one thing we recognize is that, how do you experience anything? A story, anything. How do you experience anything? Any of you, Michael?
Yeah, I experience through my senses, my feelings.
Yeah. Right. So some things we repeat, but just to come, this is our human experience. So we keep on looking at it, same things maybe over and over, and we see them in different ways. Yes. So through the senses. Right. Experience through the senses. So the senses, let's say sight. Sight meets an image, and what happens?
We recognize the image.
what happens?
We perceive it, from whatever we see it as.
Keep on using your hand up thingy, each of you, so that everybody gets a turn. Huh? So the senses perceive something, sense of sight perceives something. What happens what happens to you?
Have a reaction.
All of you, to put your hands up if you have a response. Okay, Mira.
I interpret.
How?
Well, by making a story with it. I meet it with a story. Or
okay. Is that always the case?
No,
but
sometimes
but most times.
Sometimes, most of the time, but sometimes something happens in my body. I might have tears in my eyes, or something touches me, or something like that.
Right. And how often we say, I don't know why I'm crying, isn't it? As if when we're with someone, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm crying. As if we need to apologize or need to explain or understand. Yeah. Miranda.
There's just some sort of response. It's like I see my office and there's like I don't want to go to work. Like there's before the thought even occurs, there's this, like sometimes it's a physical response just in the body, or I see something beautiful and there's a in the body, or a relax, like just doesn't matter. Sometimes there's a response. There's always a response. Sometimes thoughts come in, sometimes they don't, and it's just a feeling. It's always a response.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? So hearing meets a sound. Smelling meets a fragrance. Eyes meet an image. This is how we know about our world, yes? And what's our most common experience with our senses? Is our most common experience with the senses enjoyment? Is it forgetting about ourselves? So our senses are meeting objects in every second, yes? In every second. So we're feeling the seat we're sitting on. Yeah. We're feeling how our clothes touch our body. We're seeing different changes in light. We're hearing different voices, different sounds. Some we like, some we maybe don't like. And what's the general experience in life via our senses? So what do the senses do for us? Other than tell us about the world?
Esther, are you seeing the hands up in
No,
queue?
I'm not. You have to remind me because I'm not used to looking for them. Sorry.
Okay.
Medina.
So they should be in queue starting, I think, in your upper
They
left.
are. Thank you. They are. Still getting used to hands. Yes, Medina. Sorry.
Yes, maybe I go back one step because I'm not sure if we meet an object outside, because when we dream, we have these massive impressions and feelings and senses, even if we don't have a real object. So do we really need these objects? And what makes, if we can make it in a dream as well for our brain, as if we really would see something or
So Medina,
yes,
it appears to me, it might not be the case because we're online. It appears to me you're looking up a lot, are you?
yes.
Yes. So this is when we go in the head, you know. So yes, be without a head, come into your gut. And it's not about analyzing. Yes, there are dreams, there are all, but the question is really so our senses tell us about the world, whether it's a dream world or the world we see during the day and think isn't a dream world. Yeah, what else do the senses tell us about? What else do the senses inform us about?
About the necessary things of my body.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so just relax for a moment and just stop looking up and be with your belly for a little bit, okay? And just breathe. And you wait a little bit now. Terry.
Experiences, my senses inform my feelings.
Yeah, with your feelings. Mm-hmm. What else?
Also, there's comparison, comparing.
Mm-hmm. What else? Anybody? Everybody? Senses meet their objects.
JG, did you have something to add? JG 44.
Yeah, yes, this is Jane. My sentence is something like, at times my senses can be protective based on my past experiences or judgments.
I can't see. Where is it, JG?
Here's JG. I don't know how to get a video on.
Oh, okay.
I thought I did last time, but
Mm-hmm. So what do you say again, JG?
based on past experiences, they can be protective devices, and that, of course, is based on past experiences and judgments and memories.
Right. So wait a minute. So this is a really simple question. What else do our senses do? What else do they?
They could keep us safe.
Yeah. Yeah, but not could be. Is what do they do? Our senses meet their objects, and what else happens?
They alert us to life's experiences.
Mm-hmm. Mira?
Sensation. Something happened when I meet whatever, let's say sound or sight. There's some sensation in me.
Mm-hmm. What else? Oh, there you are, JG. We see you now. Ben.
One thing that my senses do is they orient me to
go on.
They orient me to myself. Like where am I? It's like that's there, so I have to be here. I know I'm here. I'm here. Helps me know that I exist.
I'm here. How old are we? And that was so hard to get to. Yes, so don't they? But that tells us a little bit that it was so hard for us to get there, just to, oh yes, well, yes, the fact that the senses meeting objects and then I know I exist, took us a long time to get there. Why do you think that was?
We don't use our minds. We don't use our minds very well.
Well, but maybe we're so involved in the object so much of the time. Yes. Yes. And maybe what might one of those objects be? Yeah. Maybe ourselves. Then we think we're an object. Then we think we're a pile of flesh and bones with an attitude. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But really, when we just experience through the senses, that's what we know. Don't we know I am? Before anything else is added. So in every second, our senses are reminding us, I am. Do you think? Might that be happening? And that seems quite simple, no? As far as being humans concerned. Senses meet their objects, remind me I am. So where do the problems begin?
Problems begin when I have an opinion about what's happening.
To I am. Yes. Yes.
And then that commentary just goes like a washing machine.
Yeah. So could it be that senses meet the objects and that it's just very simple? That's just being human. Yes. And I'm here. It's very simple. And then, yes, then come the stories. When I'm involved in a story, I'm a victim. I'm trapped. I'm in my head. I make more stories. Whole life and my body become all twisted up and contorted. My body starts shaking. My mind and thoughts go all over the place. My mind and thoughts fixate. I'm a slave to my mind. My mind dictates my feelings, my behavior, my choices. My mind makes up another story about the story. My mind wants a solution. Everything is tight in my body when I'm involved in a story. And I know I won't be able to breathe. So that's what the hand-me-down mind does. It comes in and it's made this complication. So were you born with the hand-me-down mind? Was that the experience right from very little? Wasn't, was it? So that's the gift. So most of us have little glimpses that wasn't the case when we were very little. So it means it came afterwards, yes? So what does that tell us? If the hand-me-down mind and all the stories started establishing themselves after the fact, now not immediately when we were little children, what does that tell us, Ben?
That it was learned. We learned it.
Yeah, and what else did it tell us? Prior to the stories, our experience what happened? Were we non-functional because we didn't have a purpose and we didn't have any goals? Miranda.
I lost my response after.
So the hand-me-down mind, it didn't kick in. It seems when we look back at childhood, we had a period of childhood, yes, before, even though it didn't matter how horrendous our childhood might have been or how wonderful, don't most of us remember that before the mind kicked in the way we experience as adults, there was a different way of experiencing life. And do you have recollection of that? Yeah. So what's that tell us? Prior to the story-filled mind, Jennifer?
Prior to the story-filled mind, as a child, before we picked up a hand-me-down mind, we we just knew who we were. We knew we were the light. We knew we were the lantern.
Well, we didn't know we were the light or the lantern, but so those would be adult words, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Explaining.
Yeah.
So did we need to know anything? Did we need to have?
No, we didn't need a purpose. We didn't need we didn't have expectations of ourselves or from others. We were just being. We were being our human beingness. That's Earth. That's Earth school, and all our senses are connected to it, so that we can have the experience. But we knew that as.
So what's different about that experience to the one we have, most of us as adults have? What were we experiencing? Wasn't it? It's much more natural, no? And we functioned, and yes, little children can be very practical and efficient. They certainly use their bodies in a much more efficient way than we do, yes?
Because they move energy. They know that if they have like a sore spot, they're going to dance and they're going to move and they're going to allow the energy to flow through them. And they don't think about it. It's not like they're like, why is this? But they just
explore different ways of using. And
curiosity.
Yes. Right. Full of curiosity.
Always asking questions. Always asking questions.
Miranda?
Yeah.
Yeah, my response was I was just fine. I was just fine.
Yeah.
I was fine before anything else.
So then as adults, we look to get enlightened and do all kinds of, it seems we still go, all we know is goals, isn't it? But if we remember that experience to any degree, wouldn't it make sense? I began in a really natural way. What happened in between? Would I suddenly have to get enlightened or something to be? It doesn't make sense, does it? Doesn't it make sense that what makes more sense is just being naturally human? So wouldn't it make more sense that any process of self-inquiry would be, what's the word, a negative, deconstructive, rather than something we're adding to? There's a word, but I'm losing it right
now. Unlearning.
Unlearning, yes, there was another word, I can't find it. Yes, so unlearning. Deconstructing.
Anyway, negative process.
But it's a negative process, yes. So it makes sense. So we're getting back to what's natural to us. We're not trying to reach some amazing state, or no. We want to get back to what's natural. JG.
What if the birthing process was challenging and traumatic? How do you unlearn something like that? Your first experiences being poked and prodded and pulled and shoved. How does that affect our outlook?
Okay. So what would be an efficient...
How do you unlearn it?
What would be an efficient, useful question? Now to that.
Well, how would you unlearn those initial experiences?
So what's that question asking? What's that question saying?
Well, I'm curious about how I had a fine birth experience, by the way. I'm curious about how it affects a person's outlook on life.
I understood that, but I'm looking at your question. I'm looking at the question itself. Yes. How do I unlearn, let's say, how do I unlearn a traumatic experience? What might not be so useful about that question?
might not be useful? What might not be useful? Why would you want to dwell on it and relive it, perhaps?
So what makes one experience more important than another? Is one experience more important than another? Is any experience more important than another?
I would imagine they're all learning experiences in some fashion.
That's not the question. Is any experience more important than the other?
Probably not.
Well, no. Yes or no. So be with the question for a moment. If you don't know, you don't have to answer. So is one experience...
How we interpret it.
Is one experience more important than the other? Be with it for a moment, Linda.
I was going to say that Jane's question assumes that it needs to be unlearned.
Yes, it assumes that it needs to be unlearned. And the story is it's important. It's a trauma. So yes, we make it important. So we make traumas important. We make special days important. We make, yes. But so the question is any experience more important than any other? So don't go efforting with your mind. Just breathe. If nothing comes, nothing comes. Enjoy it. Your mind's being quiet. What happened to your mind, JG, when I asked that question? Can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay.
What happened?
I don't have an answer at this time.
That's not the question. I said, what happened when I asked you, what makes one experience? Is one experience more important than the other? Is any experience more important than the other? What happened to your mind when I asked this question?
I go into a thinking mode.
You did?
And
you did? That was your first experience, thinking?
When you asked that question.
Is any experience more important than another? Is the first thing that happened, you went into thinking mode? Or did your mind just shut off?
Only thinking makes it so.
Or did your mind just shut off? Any of you?
I wanted to say no, but I didn't.
Any of you, your mind went quiet? Yes, Kathy, Caroline, yes. So when we ask certain questions that the mind hasn't contemplated before, and it goes quiet, then you know it's a useful question. Then you know it's like hand-me-down mind's like a little wayward puppy on a leash. And those types of questions are like a little correction on the leash of the puppy. It's like, oop, and it'll sit. Suddenly the mind is serving us. So when we ask questions, when we ask efficient, curious questions that we haven't asked before, the hand-me-down mind, we could almost say, stands to attention. It pays attention. And that's its job. It's meant to be paying attention, but the habit is, I have to find an answer. So what we're training it is that there isn't an answer for everything. Maybe there are no answers for anything. Maybe we just need to look at what we're thinking and saying. And is that really the case? And each time we go, I don't know. And each time no answer comes, see, the mind calms a little more, the nervous system calms, the body calms. Kind of similar to when we were a little kid. See, so it's very similar. It's very simple. It's not that difficult to live naturally. The more we learn to ask efficient questions, curious questions, the quicker that happens, the more that happens. Living naturally. Because our mind isn't by nature always, always, always busy. We've just learned it needs to be. Because if we don't have answers, or we're not looking for a goal, then we're not in control, and then we're not safe. See? Ben.
What I notice sometimes or oftentimes with when certain questions are asked is the mind goes blank, like you said, but it's not as if it's like it's blank and then it's a really long time of blankless necessarily. Sometimes it is, I mean, there's a long time, but it's like there's a pause. It's like the pause button has been hit on my mind. It's like I don't know, it's like a reset, or it's just like this pause, and then the mind will engage again. But still there's that brief pause and that brief moments, sometimes the briefest moments of like peace and silence and stillness before it engages again. I just wanted to share that's.
Yes, thank you. So that makes sense, doesn't it? So the hand-me-down mind is always telling us, you have to be thinking, you have to get solutions, you have to have goals. And like the lady said to me the other day, but because it's so black and white, we know we have something sure, even if it's a lie. So that keeps us feeling safe. So that was very perceptive of her. It's like, even though it's a lie, at least it's something sure. It keeps us safe. So that's the big lie. So when we get those moments like you describe, it just cuts through and there's a calm. Each time that happens, each time there's essentially the whole system's going, I don't know, I don't have an answer. We experience peace and calm. We have a glimpse of what's true. That having black and white ideas and getting answers, that's what keeps me safe. It keeps us stressed. So in those glimpses, when the mind gets cut through and we feel the relaxation, you see it is a total natural contradiction of the hand-me-down mind. And the more those happen, the more the hand-me-down mind calms, and starts to reset as yes. So it's not that we get rid of hand-me-down thinking, it's just that it doesn't have us by the throat anymore. Our mind starts serving us instead, rather than we being its servant. That's all that needs to happen. So it really is a reset. It's a life reset, sort of like back to the beginning. Yes, Jennifer.
The question asked earlier in regards to, is one experience more important than another? And how you're explaining, just like allowing, just sitting with it, instead of getting an answer, what I received was another question. So
right. What was the question?
What emotion did I become rather than feel through in that experience? That is, instead of looking at it as trauma, drama, or reaction or responsive, whether it's survival mode or not, I went, oh, the experience was still there or remembered. because the emotion, the senses picked up the feeling, the emotions, but instead of how emotions are meant like kind of to be felt and experienced, the emotion, we become the emotion sometimes in an experience, hence the memory of it. In any of the senses, you know, you smell something, it triggers a memory because that emotion that's connected to that experience.
So Jennifer, when I asked, is one experience more important than any other? All of this came from that? That sounds a little like a story, no? So then the mind gave you a story explaining a lot of stuff. So the idea is, so the mind was still trying to make a story. So this
and that's why the question came up?
Well, it wasn't really a question, it was a little more analytical, it seemed. Yes, the mind.
Because the question she asked about the birth.
Oh, yes, so you were still
going, oh.
So could you still have been stuck on that story?
That's what I wondered, was if that was connected to that actual personal experience that I didn't think.
So maybe your mind got a little stuck on the story of the trauma being unlearned. Yes. Yeah. So just watch. So yes. So when a question comes, just listen to the question. But your mind
feel
is still
it
trying
here.
to sort it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's not up here. It's all like heart sparkles. Like I feel my heart is just like glowing. So I can listen and tap in to be like, okay. And then I can feel it in my throat. It starts to get cool. And it's like, yeah, I can feel it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Hi, thank you. Same question. When I hear it, is any experience more important than another? Zip, quiet mind, like what? And then I asked, like, because then in my mind, I see the traumas I'd like to unlearn. I'd like them not to be important. And I want to know why. So my question is like, what makes that experience important?
Yes, good question. Hey, that's a good question. All right. So do you have one in particular? Do you have a particular event, a particular experience? Yes. Okay.
A couple. But I could choose one. Yes.
All right, choose one. Would you want to tell us what it is?
Well, I was almost killed once. So a boyfriend of mine tried to kill me. In that experience, I don't want it to be part of who.
So just a moment. So Ben, do you want to do a step one? Induct Lisa to a step one. Can you hear me, Ben?
Yep. Yeah, I was just.
No. Do you want to induct Lisa in the getting the story, and I'll write it.
Oh, okay. So Lisa, just take a moment, take a deep breath. So, have you ever experienced a strong overreaction?
Yes.
Okay. So close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Making no effort at all. Let your mind swing back to a time and place when you are totally challenged by what is happening. Okay, so let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
So, being here in the story, making no effort at all. Here in the story. So where are you?
So it's interesting, and I'm sorry, the first thing that I said, somebody wanted to kill me, I actually want to go back in my history.
So just very simple. So just very simple, just answer the question.
Where am I?
Where are you? Mhm.
Where am I? Okay, and if I'll take the liberty to adjust my thought that I'd like to, okay, so I'm at the counter at my parents.
I can't hear properly. I'm at what?
At the counter at your parents?
Okay.
Tell me again, Ben, because Lisa's sound, I can't hear it.
At the counter at her parents. Okay. And is anyone with you? Just give a simple yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. And who is with you? Just say their name and their relationship to you.
Yeah, my mom is there and my granddad is there.
Here.
Okay. So keep your eyes closed. Really be
Okay, I'm
here.
so sorry. I'm just trying to get the volume so that maybe it's better.
Yeah, it is better now. Yeah. Okay. So you're here. You're at the counter at your parents. Your mom is there and your grandmother.
Will you repeat that, please?
So you're here at the counter and at your parents. Your mom is here and your grandfather is here, correct? Okay. So keep your eyes closed.
Just
So
wanted
now-
to connect.
Okay. So really be here. Keep your eyes closed. Really be here. So now in no more than 3 sentences, describe what is happening right now.
Sorry, I had that glitch with the volume. So, and I'm jumping between 2 traumas. So, maybe I need to.
So you're here. So just this one. So you're here at the counter at your parents. It's just you, your mom, your granddad. Be here. No more than 3 sentences. Describe what's happening right now. This story, this totally challenging.
Okay. So then I'm so sorry, and Esther, so I'd like to just switch it that I'm in the car. I'm in a vehicle with my boyfriend. I'll use the very first experience that I brought up that someone tried to kill me. I'm in the car, I'm in the vehicle with my ex-boyfriend.
What's his name?
Salvatore. I'm ready for the next question then.
Okay. So keeping your eyes. Yep. So take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Just relax. So be here in the car with Dale. So now, in no more than 3 sentences, describe what is happening right now.
I feel surprised. He slams my head on the car window.
Okay, so really, when you're telling the story, stay in the present. So instead of he slams, he is slamming. Okay, so you're really here in the moment. So he is slamming. So continue.
Yeah, he has his hand on my throat, my head against the window. I'm in the car. He has his hand on my throat, my head against the window. And I'm surprised, and I'm in a state of shock.
And his name's Salvador?
What?
What's his name?
Salvatore.
So, gotcha. Okay. Thank you. So just that one sentence sounds like a very strong story. We can stick with that piece right there. Do you want to read that back, Esther?
Yes. So, location, I'm in a car with my ex-boyfriend, Salvador. Salvador has his hand on my throat and my head against the window. So, step 4, then. Question.
Or we're gonna go straight to step 4.
So Lisa's question was, yes. So Lisa's question was, we were talking about the importance of experiences, yes? Yeah. So, how might we word that, any of you, especially breakthroughs? I'll give one minute. Is this experience more important than any other?
Yes.
Is this experience more important? That's the question. Ben, you carry on, Ben. Do you want to, or do you want me to do it?
I would rather you do it if you don't mind.
So, right. Well, we do need to get a trigger. Let's get a trigger then.
Can you either read the story one more time?
Salvador has his hand on my throat, my head against the window. So Salvador is attacking me. Okay. All right. Is this experience more important than any other?
Yes.
Right. So we always ask for full sentences with a maximum of 8 words. So this experience
Is more important than others because.
Wait. This experience is more important than any other? Right now, yes?
Right now, yes, that experience is the most important.
Right. So what would be a good next question? Any of you?
What makes one experience more important than the other?
What makes this experience more important than any other? Okay, Lisa, what makes this experience more important than any other? Don't read, just look at me.
What pops up is that I almost died, or I could have
No
died.
more than 8 words and not conversations. This is a question. What makes this experience more important than any other? Because you've just told me it's more important than any other. So I'm saying, what makes it so? First thing that comes.
Because of its intensity.
I can't hear you.
Because of its intensity.
Okay, answer. So no more than 8 words. What makes this experience more important than any other? It is important because it is so important It is so important because first thing that comes to you.
Well, I think because I almost died. But then I
Salvador,
think,
Salvador is attacking me.
yeah.
This experience is more important than any other. It's so important because first thing comes to you.
So sorry I lost you.
Salvador is attacking me. This experience
going to
is
disconnect
more
from this.
important than any other. It's so important because
Now she's frozen.
yeah, so I'll just do it with the whole group then. Right, so all of you, you can just answer, make it personal. This is your step. Salvador is attacking me. This experience is more important than any other. It's so important because what comes to you?
I might die.
So important because I might die.
And I lost my freedom. I feel like I lost my freedom. I'm not free.
Yes, stick with this for a moment. Okay. All right, listen. So Salvador is attacking me. This experience is more important than any other. It's so important because I might die. Ben?
No, sorry, I got distracted by something else. I lost it.
Do you need, I'll share the screen. Is that easier for you when you see the screen? Ben? Did I lose you all?
Yeah, it's more helpful for me when I see, for me to see the
You can see it now, no?
yes.
Mhm. Next question.
Can you see the hands up, Esther?
No, very hard. Lisa.
Lisa is the one who's frozen.
Yes, but yeah, no, right now we're looking for a question. So it needs to be you breakthroughers. And Janet, do you have a question? No.
You're
Ben?
muted. You're muted, Gina.
The experience is so important because I survived.
What makes an experience more important than any other? Is there anything that makes an experience more important than any other? Can one experience be more important than any other? What would make it so? Medina, what would make it so? Can't hear you.
If it is extreme, not expected.
So, but what is making it so? What is making it more important? Michael?
It's my belief, my absolute belief that it's important on that moment.
Yeah,
I
so it's
absolutely believe it. I will scream and shout. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's my mind, isn't it, telling me it's more important than any other.
Yeah, I bought into my mind again. Yeah.
Right. So when the mind tells us one experience is more important than any other, what do we have there? We have a story, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, wherever you put a story to an experience, to a sensation, that's then we are slaves to the mind. Yes. So we have just a short time together. So it's a very big subject, obviously. It's our whole life. Yes. But we're looking at how captivated we are by stories. And how we are enslaved and seduced and addicted to the hand-me-down mind simply because of stories. So is it possible for one experience to be more important than any other? Just go into your gut. What's your body tell you? Pay attention to your body. Ben.
Yeah. All experiences, they're equally important. They all.
Or not at all. So what's your body telling you?
Oh. That just threw my mind for a loop there. It's like, what? Or not at all. Like that.
Right. See? See, so immediately mind says they're all equally important. Maybe they're not important at all. So this is it. It's questioning the things that our mind says, but it's not analytical. It's just curious. Is that really so? And our bodies will respond really quickly to those kinds of questions, either by calming or tensing. Mira.
When you asked that question, all that came up is, I'm always in the moment of experience when I experience. So it's only afterwards that I can judge whether I decide via the stories whether it is more important than the other. But it's just experience.
Right. Ben?
Yeah, when I made that comment, they're all equally important. Then you said, or maybe none of them are important, or however you said it. It felt like the rug was just pulled out from under my mind, and I just kind of get this cartoon of like the rug literally getting pulled out, my mind like flipping around in the air, and then there was that moment of peace, calm, ever so brief, but then I could feel in my body, my whole body tensing up and rebelling. It's like, no, of course there's important. They have to be important. The experiences are important. So that was just, I was just noticing that this kind of very deep, almost to the bone contraction of, no, experiences are important.
And what the mind's really saying isn't something else. What would you say? It's really saying the stories about the experiences are important. Yeah. And that's when we tense. Tarian.
Yeah, my first gut reaction was it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And then what you often say about the Thai people, which you say so often, and I take it as an anecdote, but it came right out of my gut. My pen line. Oh, finally, it's kind of assimilated or felt straight from the gut. So yeah, my pen line. I love that.
Like, but I told that last time, no, in the last class.
I don't think so, but
yeah, maybe I don't remember.
Kind of be explained just quickly before we go there. Yeah. So when I went to my teacher in India, well, first of all, John sent me to my teacher in India. I was like, I don't need to go to India. I don't want to turn into an orange person. And anyway, but I ended up going because he bought me a plane ticket. So there I was and sitting in front of this teacher and for a couple of days, and he said, it's my slack period. It was monsoon season in India. And he, just sat talking with me a lot just about his times in America. But just being really in the presence of someone who didn't have that hand-me-down mind, wasn't in servitude to the hand-me-down mind, was so powerful. And about the third day, I went out into the streets, in Bombay, with little starving children and dirty and all kinds of things. And suddenly I was like giggling and got this laughter, and it was suddenly, oh, nothing matters. And it was just huge. It was like, oh, nothing matters. And it was just totally, every fiber in my body knew that nothing mattered. Even though I was surrounded by poverty and distress and all, it's like nothing matters. It was so profound. The next day I went back to my teacher and he said, and so what happened? And I said, well, the only way I know how to describe this, have you ever been to Thailand? And he said, no. I said, well, when you go to Thailand, one of the first things you learn an expression. You can have your passport stolen, your luggage stolen, you get tagged, and you go to your reception in a hotel and you go, oh, this has happened to me and this terrible thing. And they look at you and they give the most wonderful smile and they nod the head from side to the side and they go, my benlai. And my benlai means never mind. That's how I felt. So never mind. So that was when I knew no experience is important. It's like absolutely nothing matters. Then that lasted for about 3 months. And then suddenly one day, in came the mind and said, things should matter. And I fell into the deepest depression for a year. But I had 3 months of a glimpse before that of what was really true. So then much of this work came from this. It was like, well, then you just have to cut through that mind that tells you everything's so important. And the next teacher, I had 2 teachers, and the one in London, and he would always just say, lose interest in experiences. And I thought that's a very interesting thing to say. So I will leave you with that. Lose interest in experiences. So that's what breakthrough is about. It's about exploring these things that, that are just very, very human to us and that we take for granted, we don't even think about. And it's learning to use our mind in a different way. And it can actually be quite fun. Yes, so we get together twice a week and we explore together and just cutting through. And there's such a compassion comes with this work because you realize it's just so simple. We just need to really ask kind questions. We're so used to blaming ourselves and pushing ourselves and demanding of ourselves. But this work's really different. It takes just a whole mess that we experience ourselves to be, and it just starts to ask some simple questions about it. Okay, so we need to stop here. Marie?
Oh, well, yeah, I was understanding everything that you said and I was totally fine. But I was wondering if you could just give me a glimpse. I understand like, oh, nothing matters and how freeing that would be and the whole perception of that. But is there a difference between nothing matters and the mind and learning? Because in other words, if my mind learns, okay, that's hot, I'm not going to put my hand in the fire. I've learned that versus, oh, it doesn't matter. There's something.
So yes, very good question. Very good question. Yes. So yes, so the nothing matters. I mean, it, first of all, wasn't a thought. It was just a total body experience that you can't really explain. Yeah, so the nothing matters wasn't that I didn't care about anything, or that I just sat around eating bonbons, or no, it wasn't. I mean, life carried on, and I was also had huge life challenges, hadn't gone anywhere as a result of that realization. It was just, the difference was, you can tell me what the difference was. You're living from a place of the hand-me-down mind, slave to it. This is where you're living from, a place of black and white thinking, where everything matters. This is more important than that, and that's more important than that. But all these things are really, really important because they're all affecting me and making me feel, yes. So when I'm living from the place of the hand-me-down mind, which most of us are doing most of the time, what's happening in my body? Living from a place of black and white thinking, goal-oriented, I have to achieve that because having a purpose gives me a sense of control, and I really need that because I totally doubt myself. But once I achieve my goal, then I'll have control. Yes, so when you're living from that place, what's happening to your body? Is it
always
relaxed? Is it calm? No, we're tense, no? We're tense at a very cellular level. So in breakthrough, we have it's a very visceral physical experience that we explore, going through in the 7 steps we teach in breakthrough. So when we're living from a place of the reactionary mind, the hand-me-down mind, we're living from a place of overreaction, which means we're constantly involved in story, how stories affect the story of me. Yes. And we're always trying to solve the stories. Now you imagine living from a place of no experience is more important than any other, which is what nothing matters actually felt like. How would you respond to life differently?
Very much so.
Very, very differently. Doesn't mean life stops being hugely challenging at times, a lot of the time, but the way we go about living is totally different. For a start, the body's really relaxed. So the mind can function really well when the body's relaxed. It doesn't mean that we don't care. Yeah? So we'll still absolutely care about our children, but this is a very needy place coming from the hand-me-down mind, yes? You can't hear me, okay. Can you hear me? Yes. So coming from the hand-me-down mind is a very needy place, isn't it? I'm needing all the time, needing to prove who I am, and I doubt myself and have a purpose. Yes, coming from here, it's not a needy place. I'm not needing to prove anything. So I'm going to function so much more efficiently. So nothing matters for me actually meant no experience is more important than any other. Yeah, or less important, or important didn't even come into it. It was just living. Yes, very different. Whereas from the hand-me-down mind, we're living from a place of stories that we are slaves to.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Very good question. Ben?
Yeah, I just wanted to say once more that thank you again so much for today, because once more, have deeper insights into body talk and some of the techniques. We learn about the 5 senses, and so you talk so much about that. But this last piece about no experience is more important than any other, than that they're all, that maybe no experience, like nothing matters. The whole I just got this insight into the just, if that's the case, then it means there has to be a massive reevaluation of everything that's going on in the body mind, all the way down to a cellular level, and a massive reprioritization. It's like, what is really important? Is anything more important than anything else? So,
is anything important?
What's that?
Is anything important?
Yeah. So it is just massive, mind blown again. So thank you.
Well, thank you all so much, really, I'm sorry my sound was so bad, but yes, it was really, and your questions. And Lisa, sorry that we lost you. I hope it helped. Right, so this is a little bit of what we do. And yes, that experience certainly, like Ben was saying, so then there's a whole reevaluation, and that's what breakthrough is. It's just reevaluating everything from the ground up, not trying to get rid of anything, because if I'm trying to get rid of something, I'm saying it's important. Yes, it's just looking at what is. And it just brings so much compassion. And, it's hard to be human. It can be so painful to be human, yes? And we're all in the same boat, and yet, we're different political parties and different religions, but in the end, we're just human. Yeah. So this is really, yes, so it's a negative process, this. That makes it very, very, very healing and healthy and simple and fun. Good. So, well, please, I only had 2 feedbacks from last time. I don't know how many people attended. So please give some feedback, constructive feedback in terms of what you get or didn't get from this, what you would like, because we'd love to do more of them, but need to know, how you receive it. So I'd like to thank Ben very much, and Terry Ann, well, all of you very much for today.
Is the feedback form in the email? Is the feedback form already in the email?
Anybody know? Say give feedback. I don't know where it is.
Yeah,
The feedback form is sorry.
Yeah, the feedback form is in the email that went out last week to follow up, and I'll be sending out another email with the link to today's recording and last week's recording as well, with another linked feedback link. So that'll all go out again this afternoon. You'll have it handy.
So if you give me feedback, yes, because I would love to do another one, say in January, but need to know what what works for you. Okay, thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.